Hello ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, welcome back to our channel. Welcome to Fagiola Chuma 254. On this platform, we discuss a plethora of issues. We discuss our politics, social and economic welfare of our society. Now, like I told you some time back, whenever we are talking about our politics, talking about our economy and our social, we ain't just supposed to be talking about whatever is happening in Kenya, because sometimes we need to go across borders and talk about the kind of things that are happening in our neighboring countries, like in Uganda, like in Tanzania, the kind of things that are happening in Somalia, in Djibouti, Ethiopia, Sudan, South Sudan. you know we're supposed to talk about the stuff that is happening in East Africa, and move on to talk about the kind of stuff that are happening in Eastern Africa, move to Central Africa, West Africa, talk about issues that are happening in North Africa, Morocco, in Egypt, and then shoot down and go talk about the kind of things that are happening in the southern parts of Africa, Botswana, South Africa, Zimbabwe. We are supposed to talk about this stuff because, funnily enough, the kind of politics that we 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 are experiencing in our nation has effects on whatever is happening in Uganda. It has effects on whatever is happening in Tanzania. In fact, the other time you had the Tanzanian government complaining that uh, the Kenyan politics was interfering with whatever, the kind of politics that they have, and they were complaining that it's happening in a negative way, depending on which side you are. Some people liked it, other people didn't like it. So when we talk about this stuff, our focus is not just supposed to be about what's happening in Kenya. We'll talk about our neighbors. We'll talk about our close neighbors and distant neighbors. So in line with that, I want us to talk about the nation of Uganda. Yesterday there was a general election in Uganda where apparently Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has been declared the winner. Uganda is a nation with a population of around 52 million. The nation of Uganda has a population of 52 million or thereabout, almost close to what the population of Kenya is. It's been led by 9 presidents. That's Museveni included. And Museveni has been the president of Uganda for the last 40 years, since 1986. So in the just concluded election, where Yoweri Kaguta Museveni won with a landslide. That's a landslide. Somebody garnering 7.9 million when your closest rival has garnered around 2 point something million votes. That's a landslide win, massively landslide. And it's kind of a paradox. I mean, when you're out here, everybody from Uganda is always complaining about they're always complaining about how things are not happening in Uganda, how there's dictatorship, which is visible. I mean, during the electioneering period, um, Bobby Wine had to put on bulletproof vest, have a helmet during his campaign tours. I mean, you don't do such kind of things if you're campaigning in an environment that is friendly, in an environment that is democratic. So I fail to understand how Yoweri won with 71% of the casted votes. With all those complaints, everything that has been happening, he ended up winning with 71% of the casted votes. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. But it was a tricky election. Funnily enough, Kaguta Museveni has been president for the last 40 years. 40 years. He's 81 years at the moment. His closest rival is 43 years. That means when Bobi Wine was 3 years old, Museveni became president. Right now, he's 43 years. Now, the people of Uganda, the great people of Uganda, have decided to give Yoweri Kaguta Museveni another term of 7 years. In other words, you are saying that Yoweri Museveni is going to be president until he's what? 88 years? And I'm quite sure, since there is no term limit in Uganda, it was removed in 2005 or something, I don't know. But since there is no term limit in Uganda, I really doubt, I doubt it if Museveni is going to retire from politics. I doubt. He's got plans of, being president for life, unless the people of Uganda change their minds and decide otherwise. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is going to be president for life, aided by his can I say greed for power? Because this guy has had like almost 8 prime ministers, 8 in the 40 years that he's been president. 8 prime ministers, close to 5 vice presidents. In those 40 years, only Museveni has been the constant. The other things have been varying. 8 prime ministers, over 5 vice presidents in a span of 40 years, and people don't see anything wrong with it. He's not gonna relinquish power. That's a doubt. That's a big doubt. 1, because of his greed for power. 2, because of the disorganization of the opposition. Because like in the just concluded elections, the opposition had 9 candidates. Not opposition. Those who were vying for presidency were 9, including Yoweri Museveni. So there was they didn't have that unity of purpose. There was no unity of purpose. There was violence that is state-sponsored. Such kind of things helps the incumbent to stay in power. And it's still going to happen and happen and happen. Now, what I don't understand, or the question that I can ask the people of Uganda, the great people of Uganda, our neighbors, what I would like I would like you guys to at least inform me is, are you happy with the presidency of Yoweri Museveni? Are you okay being led by somebody who is almost... Nigga, that guy is 81 years and he's going to lead until he's 88 years. Are you guys happy with that? Are you okay with the way the campaigns were conducted? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. How is your economy performing? It might be better than when Museveni took over. Yeah, in 1986. Your economy at the moment might be better than what it was when he took over. But for crying out loud, it's been 40 years with the same president. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But I'll leave you with one advice. I'll leave you with one advice. That the rule of a tyrant, people of Uganda, listen to this. The rule of a tyrant is prescribed by how long the subjects are willing to be ruled. So everything that is happening in Uganda right now, I hope there's not going to be any bloodshed. I'm told Bobby Wine is in hiding because he feared for his life. I've not heard of any violence, and I hope there's not going to be any bloodshed like it was in Tanzania. But you have to remember, as the people of Uganda, that the rule of a tyrant is prescribed by how long the subjects are willing to be ruled. So if you're willing to be ruled by Museveni the way he's been ruling you, and you've given him your go ahead, by a landslide, you should be ready for the consequences. You should be ready for the consequences. When you see impunity, enjoy it because you support it. When you see government overreach in whatever you're doing in terms of security, enjoy it. If you find your economy lagging behind compared to your neighbors, enjoy it. Why? Because you've allowed it to happen. You have allowed it to happen. Your story is not different. It's not different from what was happening in Zimbabwe. It's not different. It's not different. So, yeah. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is the president of Uganda for another 7 years. And you can mark my word, because I don't think this is going anywhere. This recording is not going anywhere. He's still going to come back at 88 years old, unless he's replaced by somebody whom he feels is friendly to him, like, for instance, his son. He's still going to be president for life. Tyrant's rule is prescribed by how long the subjects are willing to be ruled. I wish the people of Uganda the best. I hope everything is going to be fine, though I don't know.